Very interesting. I'm surprised ChatGPT didn't turn up the Profumo affair. There is something that happened around the same time. So yeah, our next speaker, our second speaker, is Mr. Bashir Basalama. Mr. Bashir has been an interpreter and translator for most of his adult life, working in the English-Malay and English-Indonesian language pairs. He began his career as a staff interpreter in the judiciary and later parliament, before becoming a full-time freelancer. He continues working in various interpreting settings and domains. Written translation continues to be a significant part of his job as well. This afternoon, Mr. Bashir's talk is entitled Talking AI. Where is it heading for interpreters? Mr. Bashir, please.
Hello, everyone. Prof. Robigo, Prof. Tan, colleagues, students, fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I too felt sorry to have to take over from Felix. It was a very interesting presentation, and in comparison, I think my topic may not be so interesting. Yeah, interpreting is sort of alien to quite a lot of people. I think you might not have experienced what it is, how it goes on directly. But first, I just want to thank the school for having invited me, for having the honor of speaking today. This is a topic that, while on the one side, as an interpreter, as a practitioner, it should be familiar to me, but on the other hand, AI is something completely new to me, because as you can see, from the way I've seen it in the presentations that I've seen, it completely takes out the interpreter, the practitioner, or the human practitioner from the picture. So maybe it's a different way of looking at things. But before we proceed, I'd like to just set the scene and maybe clarify some things for those who may be unfamiliar with the subject matter. And what is translation? Next slide. If you know of the expression oral translation, that's what it is. Some people would like to say oral translation, although we in the business, in the industry, actually hate that. We like to say, oh, written translation is different from oral translation. But one reason really is that oral, or rather interpreting, it's not just oral. It also includes what we call sign language interpretation, which is for the hearing impaired. And so if you just say oral translation, it doesn't completely cover the idea. But for the general understanding, this is very accessible. Prime Minister's National Day rally speech last month, or his many press conferences during the COVID pandemic, when he was letting the public know about the situation, how the situation has changed, and the new measures and so on. And it was always translated, as you say, or interpreted into the 4 languages, and sometimes plus sign language as well, I remember. And also, Parliament has now a live channel, Parliament Live, where the English floor language is in the video on YouTube. But at the same time, you will also be able to listen to the English interpretation of Malay, Chinese, and Tamil speeches. In this case, there is also the captioning, which is YouTube caption, automatic captioning. So that's an accessible way of understanding for those of you who are unfamiliar with what interpreting is about, understanding that the way it's done. And next slide. And human interpreters have always been around, and we know that they've been doing this way back, like in this relief from ancient Egypt. You can see the humble, fragile interpreter drawn small, pictured small in between the pharaoh, in this case Horemheb, and envoys, emissaries from other countries. So this has always been the configuration. The human interpreter in between two parties who are speaking different languages where they do not understand each other. And this was 3,000 years ago. And this is like yesterday, 2015. Still the same configuration. The human interpreter between two parties, just straight away, interpreting. And sorry, I forgot what this. And yeah, the next one. And here the court interpreter, legal interpreter, and that's in a legal office perhaps. And you can also picture something in say a clinic, a hospital, police station, investigation, and the interpreter is in between. So this is the way it's always been done, and the way it's still done in some situations, and no frills, simple, no tech. Here, the difference is just the fact that there's sign language being used. In the picture on the left, there's the speaker herself is a sign language hearing impaired, and she uses sign language, and the interpreter, who is the woman in blue. This is in Malaysia, and I forgot the name of the interpreter. She appears quite often in Malaysian television, providing sign language interpretation of news, speeches, and so on. So in this case, on the right-hand side, she's the one presenting. On the left, her colleague is presenting from the interpreting community, sign language interpreting community, and another colleague is providing sign language translation. So basically, these are all the basic ways of interpreting that has always been done. No frills, as I said, and no tech. Yeah? But now there is the technology has come in, and which makes it possible for interpreting to be done, the interpretation to be done at the same time as the speech, and using electronic means. You can separate the language channels. You can even separate the language channels into multiple languages. So this makes it possible to provide interpretation into many languages for multilingual large events and for large audiences. And then COVID came, and suddenly we are thrust into a new way of doing it, remote interpreting. This is a platform called Kudo, one of the leading platforms. This is actually the console used by interpreters. It's browser-based, and all you need is good headset, LAN connection, cable LAN connection, speedy LAN connection. And you can work from home and serve audiences all around the world. So you don't have to be transported to another country. You don't have to be in the same place as the speaker. This is another platform called Interpr, and there's a reason why I'm using this example. Also, the same console for the interpreter. There's a graphic video of the speaker or the audience, and the channels for the interpreters to select, and volume controls, and so on. And the interpreter can work in teams. And at the same, as I was saying, you can be anywhere in the world and serve multiple languages, multiple audiences in anywhere in the world. But that's the way it's always been done. And now, because of technology and so on, these two, one of them is Interpr now. They have come up with the use of AI. So that's where AI now comes in. I would like now to play, as I was saying, I don't have that personal knowledge about this field yet, so I will let some videos do the talking, if you don't mind. And the first one is a presentation by a short introductory video by Kudo, which is this platform before. And these two platforms are leading the way now, and apparently, as far as I can see, and presenting or offering AI products for multiple language use. So the first video will be from Kudo.
Accessible in any language. And now, that's possible with one click of a button, thanks to Kudo AI. Kudo AI is an AI-powered speech translator that delivers multilingual audio and captions to your preferred platform or browser in real time. From cell phone to laptop users, in-person to fully virtual, we can make your content language accessible. So what makes Kudo AI unique? Our speech-to-speech solution was designed by experts in both language and communication technology. In addition to integrated features like recording, request to speak, and voting, Kudo AI imitates the most natural flow of speech and intonation possible with minimal delay for the listener. How does it work? Once you've created a Kudo AI account, run your meeting or video conference as normal. Using our language selector, participants can then choose which language they want to hear you speak. They'll also be able to follow live captions in that language from their screen, making it perfect for international all-hands meetings or language and development programs. And if your meeting or event is live, participants can access Kudo AI on any device by simply scanning a QR code. Because inclusivity, productivity, and growth.
Thank you. So, before I go. You notice that they use the term speech translation. They don't say interpreting. So that's going back to what I talked about earlier about the term interpreting, why we say it should not be oral translation. But here they are actually saying speech translation. And the reason is the current offering of the product focuses on one-way interpretation. It's speeches, it's not dialogue interpreting, it's not the interpretation of interactive conversation yet, but it's meant for speeches, and at the same time there is subtitling, captioning. So multilingual captioning, auto-captioning, and from that captions, basically right now, the captions is then machine translated into multiple languages. So they're still very careful about calling it, not calling it interpretation, but it's called speech translation. And now let's look at Interprify, which is this platform.
And good evening from Thailand, ladies and gentlemen.
So
my name's
you can
Richard
see
Rukoff,
the
and I'm the commercial director
captioning below.
Behavior here at Interprify. Welcome to today's webinar. In just a couple of weeks since the launch, the market response received has been absolutely incredible. I'm excited to extend a massive thank you for your interest and for taking the time to be here with us today. And I'm genuinely excited to share this experience with you, and we look forward to many follow-up discussions as a result. Here with me today, hosting the webinar, I have Andre, our Chief Product Officer, and our colleague Dora, who's a native Spanish speaker and also an interpreter. She's going to take the floor, speaking Spanish for the purpose of the demo into the languages that we've made available.
Can you just stop that? Yeah, I just want to draw attention to a couple of things, just clues. For instance, the name Andre there, this Andre Shukin, he's listed in the company organization as the Chief Product Officer, and his name is spelled Andrey with an Y, and yet the caption there shows without Y. So I think that's clue that this is automatic. It's done automatically. And now there is an issue with Andre with his sound, with his audio, and as you can see, because of that, there's sudden silence in the captioning.
Andre? Sorry, I couldn't hear you there. All good? And Dora?
All good. Thank you so much.
All good.
Welcome,
Yeah.
everybody.
Andre's got some audio issues. Okay. So let's take in and good evening from Thailand.
So there are some clues there to show that it is automatic captioning. So can we go to the next one? And now we have a user reaction. This is
Hi everyone. So my name is Vincento. I'm from France. I'm from SparkUp, the founder of SparkUp. And SparkUp is a virtual audience platform. We gather people from everywhere, on a mosaic, on a live video mosaic. Very interesting, we teleport attendees to the front row seat. And very interesting because today I was just attending a conference in Las Vegas. And I just discovered with the Interpr app that it was possible to hear the full conference in my own language, in French. So I was like, okay, French translation, AI? No, it's not working. But then I was blown away, Like the full conference was translated in French, a lot of very accurate, very clear, no latency. I mean, it was pretty cool, So A, I was like surprised. I've learned a lot from the conference in my language. But B, I'm like, okay, we need to integrate that into our own product. We need to work with Interpr and integrate into our own streaming platforms, for our event, So congrats, it's great, thank you.
So that's a user response, and he seems to be very, very enthusiastic about it. He found it very, very useful, and of course the kind of conversation or content there is probably of a certain type of certain content that limits certain things, like that will be mentioned later, like humor and jokes and so on. But it works for him, and he's very enthusiastic about it. Next one is a demo by Dora, who will be speaking in Spanish, a short impromptu speech, and it will be translated into, first it will be with automatic caption, and it will then be translated from there to English and to some other languages as well. We'll see. Oh, sorry, just quickly. Before that, you'll notice that she starts with, and the caption says, "Tell me," which is kind of odd when you first listen to it. Why tell me? It's just all of a sudden, this one. But I think it's a direct automatic captioning, direct translation from Spanish with something in the nature of something like when we wanted to begin conversation, we might say, well, So the captioning comes up as "tell me," which is, it's an error in a way. It's an error, but it's also a clue to how these things work. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Tell me. Gardening is the art of growing plants, flowers, vegetables in our own garden. We can start by preparing the soil, sowing the seeds, and caring for the plants as they grow with patience and dedication. We can see how our plants develop and flourish. Gardening not only beautifies our environment, but it also brings us a lot of benefits. It allows us to relax, enjoy contact with nature, spend time outdoors, breathing fresh air, listening to the sounds of nature, and all of this can be very therapeutic and help us reduce stress. In addition, gardening provides us with the opportunity to grow our own food. We can plant vegetables and aromatic herbs in our garden and harvest them when they're ready.
Okay. And so you can see the captioning there running at the same time as she speaks. It seems a bit odd. There are times when you notice that the captioning actually comes up earlier than the speech, but I think that is just a matter of the video. Next, we'll hear the Chinese translation of the same
我们将
speech.
选择气候变化。
今天我想和大家谈谈一个对我们所有人来说都非常重要和紧迫的话题，这是气候变化。气候变化是指模式的长期变化。地球上的气候，它对我们的星球有非常重要的影响，我们自己的生命以及我们所负责的人的生命。
Okay, so I don't know Chinese, so I can't really comment on the quality, but I would guess based on the English just now that it's coming through. Okay, the next one we'll look at is the product officer himself discussing, but I will just take screenshots of that.
这是一种创新。
Andrei Shukin will explain to us. Maybe shall we do this the one on secret sauce?
Yeah.
The next one.
So
Yeah,
what
this
is
one.
the secret sauce?
Yes. Can we please?
And what is special about our solution?
Yeah.
Well, we group.
Okay. One thing, again, you notice one error there that's also a clue here. He said secret sauce, but the captioning came out as sales, which was in the earlier caption. But that's all right. But the three elements there that comes into play in the AI for interpretation product. He describes it there. Of course, it's not secret at all. The first part is the audio layer, he calls it, and then the context layer. And these two kind of reminds me that it's similar to what interpreters do. We listen keenly, we listen actively, and then use our knowledge of the subject matter which we build in preparation before the event. And so they have the audio improvement that they have done, enhancements, and then they customize the subject matter for the translation for the subject that they are going to present and they're going to translate. And then the fusion layer is really mixing of all the different technologies, different innovations that have come up that we have right now. He talked about text to speech, speech to text, and then the translation, and then they are moving on to speech to speech eventually, so that the translation comes through not even through text translation. So this is how they have been doing it. So next slide. So I'll go back to my slides. Yeah, so the secret sauce really is, as Professor Barry Olson from the Montreal Institute describes it here, with ASR, automatic speech recognition, now accuracy up to 95% compared to 96%. And this is the basis for using neural machine translation now to translate automatically into many languages. And in fact, now they are moving to speech now with Google, according to Professor Olson, Meta, Tencent, soon to release speech-to-speech translation. And they are also allowing for choice of voice, regional accents, and very soon even cloning of the speaker's voice in order to make it even more realistic. I'll skip this. This is a comparison of the what humans and speech translation can do. And this is my own experience with using AI. I'm using DeepL for translation into Indonesian. And you can see that one example is the translation of the pronoun it there, where the DeepL was able to know that it there refers to the hair, the long hair. If you have long hair, it must be tied up in a neat, tight bun. And in Malay or Indonesian, you can't just translate that it directly, because we use our pronoun dia and mereka only for human subjects, human pronouns. But here you can't just say it using those two pronouns. So the DeepL knows well enough that it means rambut or hair. So this is the basis for what is going on now, what is AI interpreting. This provides the raw material for AI in interpretation. I'll skip that. And this is Barry Olson again, Professor Olson from Monterey, explaining why interpreting is a prime target for using the use of technology to increase efficiency, because it's highly personal human service, and it has to be at the right place at the right time, but it's difficult to scale up for large audiences and to meet the growing demand for multilingual communications, which is where they are targeting the use of AI now, for multilingual, multi-language communication to a large audience. Not so much for small, little meetings that we had in the earlier videos. Sorry, never mind. Not so much for those small meetings, but for large audiences. But they are also targeting at their next step is going for dialogue, interactive communication, and that's the next step. But I still feel that as the theme of our meeting here today is about, is rethinking the position of human. I'm still sanguine about it. I'm still hopeful that there is a human role somewhere there. The benefits are great because you open up access to multilingual communication, but not just multilingual, but think about the hearing impaired. Just a little bit, yeah. Think about the hearing impaired, for instance. You know, if you imagine a class like this, a lecture like this, and we will enable captioning into English or whatever language, and the hearing impaired would be able to access that meeting easily. You know, so it's the downside is to a small community, the interpreters, and I'm one of them. But I think about the benefit to the society at large, and in that sense, I think it's humanizing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bashir. That was indeed quite interesting for us because we can see that indeed when you use AI, discourse markers and phatic communion, sometimes they can't catch that because that's entirely human.